Hi, everyone. This is Heather Lottinen from the Flourish.Academy. I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Marchick. Hey, Mar.
What's up?
All right. We're continuing to explore the book that we enjoy talking about.
You are a awesome person.
That's a good one. She just uses a different word.
Yes.
And if you're just joining us, I do that because we have young ears listening. And I am trying to be respectful to their parents.
Okay, that's so proud. I'm so proud of you. Okay.
It's big of me, isn't it?
Yes, it is big of you. We're starting part 2, how to embrace your inner awesome person.
Very good. All right. And chapter 6 is called Love the One You Is. And on page 54, she says, we arrive here as perfect little bundles of joy and then set about the task of learning to unlove ourselves. How unbelievably ridiculous is that? Self-love, the simplest yet most powerful thing ever, flies right out the window when we start taking in outside information. I'm not talking about conceit or narcissism, because those things also come from fear and lack of self-love. I'm talking about a deep connection with our highest selves and an unshakable ability to forgive our lowest. I'm talking about loving ourselves enough to let go of guilt, resentment, and criticism and embrace compassion, joy, and gratitude.
Okay, this is all right up my alley.
Yeah,
I'm
yes.
like a self-love. Obviously, my other business is the self-love chick. So I am all about this self-love stuff. Now, the thing is, we are born in love. Like, we are born in complete and total love, out of love, in love with ourselves. So it is the world around us that starts to put in the fear and the doubt and the judgment as we walk through life, and you get told no, and oh, you can't do this, and oh, why can't I do that? Am I not good enough to be picked? All these things start happening. So it's up to us, once we recognize these things, is to take over and start controlling our mind and our heart. Because self-love, I'm going to go off on a tangent. Sorry. Self-love is all about connecting the mind and the heart, right? We can fix the mind, but you also have to fix the heart. And if you don't fix them together, then you're not going to get anywhere. So in addition to working on the mind, work on the heart too. Okay,
so you obviously work with a lot of women in your coaching practice.
Yes.
Okay, how do you handle women who say, okay, but I feel like that's being conceited, or as she says, narcissistic, or...
But it's not conceited or narcissistic, because you're not saying like, I'm better than everybody else. You're saying, I love myself so much that I'm going to do what's right for me, regardless of what happens to somebody else because of my decisions, right? So, and the more you love yourself, the more capacity you have to love other people.
Very well said. That was excellent, because I think there are a lot of women that are going to struggle with, well, I'm trying to be humble and I don't want to think too much of myself. But the way you just explained it is beautiful and perfect. You can only love others to the degree of which you love yourself.
Yep.
So if you think of the person you love the most in the world, do you know that you are limited in terms of how much you love them because of how much you love yourself? When I think about that, with my children and my husband, that spurs me to action, that I have to do it's like a responsibility. I have to do a better job at loving myself so that I can love them more. That you're so well set for this.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Boom. Okay, she gave us like 8 tips here on kind of the things you can do to work on your self-love. We're going to touch on a couple of them. On page 55, she says, 1, appreciate how special you are. You have created your own unique reality and are living your life according to your own unique path. You are the only you that will ever be. You are kind of a big deal. You used to say this all the time. Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. Even if it's only in my own mind.
Yes.
But what we're saying is that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And remember, again, it's not conceited or narcissistic. You're not saying I'm the best at everything. You're just saying I love myself and I'm working on myself. That's okay. If you go around saying, I'm the best, or
better than everybody else,
I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is an issue. That's conceit. That's not self-love. Okay. Number 2, she says, drown yourself in affirmations. So if you've listened to this podcast, you know that Heather and I love affirmations. There's a lot of things we say to each other daily, or to ourselves
You're right.
daily. And, you know, as things come up, you know, I always say, and you guys know this, I'm strong and healthy. I'm strong and healthy. My back is in the perfect position. Heather has things she says. But Jen gives some examples here that says, my heart is open. Love pours in and out. I receive all the good that life has to offer me. I am brilliant, bright, and beautiful. I love how tall I am, and I love the size of my butt. Can't say the other word she uses.
Yeah, she does use a lot of interesting language in this book. But so yeah, she gives some examples of affirmations, or maybe you could look some up on the interwebs, and certainly at some point we'll share some of ours. But yeah, there are things I say to myself every day, like I'm strong and healthy. I am worthy. I am enough. Strong and healthy. I am worthy. I am enough. You say them in the present tense and you repeat them over and over until your subconscious believes it.
And we were talking about your money limiting belief last episode. And I know you say like money freely flows to me.
Yes. Frequently and in abundance.
Yes. I usually say I'm welcome of money in any form. Money freely flows to me.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I'll take it anyway. I can get it.
I change up my money affirmations based on something I learned. So I say I'm currently saying money flows to me easily and frequently and in abundance. I have a ton of money. I am so excited for my very full bank account that gives me options and freedom to do what I desire or what I want to do. And I'm just always changing it up. I'm putting it out there to the money universe that I am welcome and open.
I'm open to your money.
And she says on page 57, really listen to how you speak and pay attention to what you do and make a conscious effort to increase your joy in whatever capacity you can. Take care of yourself as if you're the most awesome person you've ever met. I love that.
Love that. She also says one of her tips here is to ditch the self-depreciating humor. Incessant self-depreciating humor is for losers. She says, I get it. It can be hilariously funny, and I'm totally guilty of it from time to time, and there's nobody I enjoy backing over more than the guy who can't laugh at himself. But I'm talking about the nonstop self-flagellating I suck fest. It's just hysterical. So we do this often as women.
I do.
You know, even when people give us compliments, we just brush them off with some humor that's like puts ourselves down. And you have to stop that because you're speaking it into existence.
That's true.
And you can't. I mean, would you really say that to somebody else to their face? No, then don't say
why
it
would you say
about
it to yourself?
She
says what you tell yourself on a daily basis is more powerful than you know. Seemingly harmless jokes over time turn into seriously destructive beliefs. Our thoughts become our words become our beliefs, and our beliefs become our actions, and our actions become our habits. Our habits become our realities. So if your favorite joke is that you couldn't get a date if you demanded one at gunpoint, and you spend every Saturday night alone, perhaps you should come up with a new one-liner.
Maybe, just maybe.
I love that. So be careful how you speak to yourself.
Yes. Another tip here is she says, don't compare yourself to others. Now we've talked before about how I feel about comparison. We did an entire event for my self-love club about comparison and how it makes you feel like you aren't enough. And I mean, and then expectations, it's just sets you on this road to nowhere. So she says, comparison is the fastest way to take all the fun out of life. You are more than enough. Avoid comparison like the plague.
I love that.
Oh, so good. And then number 8 was forgive yourself. Heather?
Yeah.
Do you feel it's easy to forgive yourself?
I'm getting better at this. I would say in the past, no, I would think, why am I such an idiot? Like, why did I do that? That was stupid or that was unkind. But I now show myself grace. Okay, this does not mean letting yourself off the hook for some type of responsibility you need to own. But it just means saying, okay, I made a mistake. It's okay to make a mistake. Show yourself some grace, forgive yourself, and move on. I read this exercise recently, and I can't remember the book, but she said most of us probably need to look in the mirror in our bathroom every morning and say, hey, I forgive you for that bad decision you made or for that unkind remark or thought that you had. I forgive you. And then just move on. How do you do with this?
Well, I'm pretty good at I have a lot of compassion for myself and for others. So, and once you get to this level of compassion, it's much easier to forgive yourself, right? So I can easily say okay, I'm having a bad day. Everybody has a bad day. no one's perfect all the time. You don't need to be perfect. Why do you think, like, everyone does and says things to themselves. So again, this is one thing we're working on in the self-love club. Is the next event is we're talking about forgiveness and saying, like, I forgive you, Mara, for what you've done, said. You know, most of the time when we do these things, it comes out of a place of fear or loneliness or whatever you're struggling with. And we have to acknowledge that, like, we made a choice or a decision or said something or did something that came from a place of fear. And when we do that, we can say, okay, I'm sorry. I forgive you. We're moving on. Again, not negating what's happened, but like, you have to be
acknowledging
able to, like,
it, accepting.
say, like, okay, I have compassion towards myself. I can make a better choice next time and move on.
This is fantastic. Hey, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So people are listening to this, and we talk often about your coaching and your self-love club. Is there a way that they can join that?
Oh, yeah. You just go to the self-love-chick, CHICK.com, and you can join the club and get all of the meetings and programs that I run, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we'll post a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about that enough, but let's do that. We'll post a link in the show notes so that people can check it out, because I know that a lot of our listeners are women who struggle with this. I know it.
No.
Yeah.
And I can help you.
Yeah. Let Mara help you.
And then the last thing she says, the last step was love yourself, because it's the holy grail of happiness. And this
love
is
yourself.
what
Yeah.
I'm working on so much with women, because we're just so hard on ourselves, and we really need to work on some compassion and forgiveness and just more love. More love, less competition, less struggle.
Yes.
So I love that section. That section was all for me.
Yeah, right up your alley. Okay, we're moving on to chapter 7, and it's titled, I Know You Are, But What Am I?
Okay, and she says on page 64, do not waste your precious time giving one single crap about what anybody else thinks of you.
This is so important. I read things like this all the time, that it's actually none of our business what other people think.
Yes.
And it's pretty selfish to think that it is. And she says, we throw a wet blanket of ho-hummery over our lives when we live in fear of what others might think instead of in celebration of who we are.
Ooh.
I like this quote she has from Dolly Parton. It says, I'm not offended by all the dumb blonde jokes because I know I'm not dumb. I also know I'm not blonde. I thought that was great.
Oh my gosh. Okay, she says on page 67, if you base your self-worth on what everyone else thinks of you, you hand all your power over to other people and become dependent on a source outside of yourself for validation. Then you wind up chasing after something you have no control over, and should that something suddenly place its focus somewhere else or change its mind and decide you're no longer very interesting, you end up with a full-blown identity crisis.
This is serious.
Your worth, your identity comes from you, nobody else.
Right.
Nobody else has the power to tell you that you're unworthy or worthy. You say, I'm worthy.
It's your decision. And she says, you are responsible for what you say and do. You are not responsible for whether or not people freak out about it.
Do you think people like freak out about the things you say? I think you know this for a fact that some people do.
So, okay, we all have this like worry in the back of our mind that somebody's not going to like something we say. And it almost never comes true. But every once in a while, you'll get a confirmation that somebody doesn't like you, what you did or what you said. And yeah, it's really hard. Or I have a large following on YouTube and I get some negative comments. I mean, that's bound to happen. So over the past year, I've really learned to embrace it and not take it so personally. These people do not know me. They don't know what I'm about. They certainly don't know my heart. So why would I give them any say in how I feel about myself? It's stupid. It still bothers me. I don't like it, but I've done a better job of like reading the comment and kind of laughing it off. Like, okay, so clearly you don't like me.
People that talk about my boobs.
Clearly, well, I mean, sometimes they really like them, so they have something to say about it. But you know, these people they don't know you. They don't know what you're doing. So why would we allow that into our lives? Now we're human. Okay, we're prone to have sensitive feelings, but you cannot. The key here is you and I do not ever let it stop us from moving forward.
Oh no, I keep going and going and going.
You keep going. Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, I guess I can say I don't care what other people think because I truly don't. It doesn't stop me from living my life.
Thank
and
goodness.
going through what my purpose in life is. If I did, I'd be cowering in a corner
That's
crying.
right.
I mean, I would be nowhere if I cared what other people thought.
So you have to to acknowledge it, not care, and move forward anyway.
And this is why I tune out the noise. Like I'm not in anybody else's business. I'm in my business, and I'm focused on what I'm doing. I'm laser focused. Like there's blinders on and I'm just going. So the chaos that exists outside,
you don't let it in.
It's not coming in my vision.
Yeah, good.
And
you stay in your lane.
I control that.
Good for you.
So yeah. Yeah, I'm smart sometimes.
Sometimes.
Not all the time.
Right.
Okay, we are moving to chapter 8.
Yes.
What are you doing here? And on page 72, she says, when you find your calling and you design your life in such a way that you can share your gifts with the world on a consistent basis, you feel like a rock star. Mm-hmm. When we share what we were brought here to give, we are in alignment with our highest, most powerful selves. Well, I feel this every day.
Yeah, you do.
I feel like I'm doing what I was meant to do with my life, and I feel like a rock star. I do. And that's not conceited. That's coming from a place of I've worked my butt off. I was going to say
I know you were.
but I didn't. I stopped. I've worked my butt off to get where I am today. And everyone that thinks like this is an overnight, like, oh, she's so successful, it just happened. No, it didn't just happen. Like I busted my butt. And I can proudly say like I focused on what I knew I wanted to do. And then things have evolved from there. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like living the life that like I've wanted. It seems pretty awesome.
It feels good, right?
There are struggles.
Sure.
Everyone has struggles. But
you designed it.
Pretty proud of myself for doing this. And I feel great about that. So,
and do you think that helps get through the difficult times or the challenges? Yeah, because you're connected.
I know that like I may struggle for a couple months or with something. But I know in the end it's all going to work itself out because I'm doing what I was called to do with my life.
You feel very connected to it.
There's no doubt about that. So
that's a great feeling.
Yes,
she says every single person is born with unique and valuable gifts to share with the world. Mm-hmm. Once we figure out what ours are and decide to live our lives putting them to use, that's when, and only when, the real party begins. Living a life on purpose is available to everyone. So if you're struggling or settling or completely confused about what you're supposed to do with your life, know that the answer is already here. It exists, and so does the life you can't wait to create. You just need to get some clarity first. So you got clarity.
I got clarity. Yeah. And part of it is, I do a lot of journaling and writing, obviously. So, and you will find, like, if you are journaling and writing things down, you'll notice that the things that keep coming back to you in your writing, like, those are your gifts. Like, it's easy once you start writing because your mind will keep coming back to it and keep coming back to it. So if you don't know what that is, if you don't know your purpose in life, we're talking about this like in the Self-Love Club, we're doing this 6-month program on self-discovery. And one of the things is like, what's your purpose? And people really struggle with, I don't know what my purpose is. And I want to help them find what their purpose is because everybody has it in them. And so really it's just about asking the right questions and letting someone journal on those questions and just free flow. And I'll give you one tip on journaling. Not that this is what we're talking about, but I say this all the time to the ladies in my club. When you're writing, I'll ask them a question and I'll say, now, I just want you to write. Whatever comes to your mind first is what you write down, no matter how ridiculous it sounds. You just write it down because what's going to happen, that comes from the heart. The thing that immediately pops into your mind is from the heart. The second you let your head start to like override what your heart is saying, you're going to fall away from what your heart's trying to bring you back to. So just write whatever comes first. There it is.
And don't edit yourself.
Don't edit. Yeah. I said don't edit yourself. Just write and write and write whatever comes to your mind until you stop.
I edit myself. I struggle with this. If you were to give me that exercise, I would immediately start using the logical part of my brain. I would think and I would not feel. And you would literally have to beat me over the head to make me say it come from the heart. It's a struggle for me. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people struggle with that. And I want to edit it so that it looks a certain way when it's written
Sounds
down.
perfect.
Yes.
It's like, here is my purpose. This just automatically came to me. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yes.
No, it
Yes.
doesn't come that
Yes.
way. It comes through a lot of self-reflection. And it's not pretty at first.
Struggle.
You're just going through and figuring out, okay, this, okay, yeah, yes, and yes, as you write down. Like things just come to you.
That's a very powerful exercise. So that's
you.
really good.
Hey, I know what I'm doing with my
Yeah, you do.
my ladies. So
Okay, on page 74, she says, take the first right step. So I love this because I want to wrap up this episode with this because I think this is the key to everything, which is instead of wasting hours and days and years trying to figure out your perfect next move, just do something already. Oh, the time we waste rolling ideas around in our heads, imagining what ifs, coming up with the perfect reasons why, and then perfect reasons why not, tearing at our cuticles, making our friends and family carefully screen their calls in case it's us again, wanting to go over some ideas. Get out of your head and take action. You don't have to know exactly where it's going to take you. You just need to start with one thing that feels right and keep following right feeling things and see where they lead. Most answers reveal themselves through doing, not thinking. Clarity comes from action, not words. So you do that journaling and then do something. Anything. Just do something.
And that's what we always do. Like at the end of my journaling exercises, it's always, what is one action I can take? Or no, I don't say can, because that gives you an out. What is one...
No outs here.
No outs.
Yeah.
What is one action I will take towards whatever it is? So if you just come up with one action, because that one action leads to another action, to another action, to another action. And if it is your true purpose, it will keep working out for you. But you'll see you have to pay attention to the roadblocks too, because they're either telling you like, okay, Mara, you need to struggle at this point so that it makes the end really worth it. Or this roadblock means I need to go in a different direction because that path is not for me. So be very aware of those things too as you're going through your action plans.
That's solid advice. What's our strategy for this?
Strategy. Okay, this one is super simple. I want you to create a daily affirmation that you can say to yourself. They should usually start with like an I am statement. I know a lot of people have this I am enough statement that's very important to them. Make it brief but powerful. And it's always in the present tense, like it already exists. And when you say it, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror while you do it.
That helps.
Yeah. And sometimes that's the hard part for people.
Right.
They can't look at themselves in the eye. Don't look away. Don't look down. You stay there. You stay there. Stare right into your eyes. I am enough.
I am enough.
I am worthy. I'm strong. Worthy.
I am healthy.
Yes.
I actually have on my mirror in my bathroom written in lipstick, I am enough. And I have a little cross after it because it's to remind me that it's for Jesus and his glory and not mine or not this world, but I am enough. I am enough. So if anyone is struggling with these affirmations, start with that one.
Yes.
I am enough. And then the strong and worthy is another critical one. I am strong and worthy. I am strong and worthy. Say that 10 times to yourself, several times a day, and your brain will actually start to believe that you are in fact strong and worthy, and watch your life change.
Boom. Mic drop. All right, Heather, as we wrap up today's episode, tell everyone how they can support us and our podcast.
Share it with your friends. Tell everyone. Follow the Flourish Academy. Like, share, subscribe. You can watch us on YouTube at flourishacademy.tv if you prefer video.
All those social media things.
There's all of the social media. All of it.
Social media.
And if you share it with your friends, it's just really helpful. It gets the podcast in more people's ears, and hopefully it can help them and it can inspire them.
Listen, Heather and I have a purpose, and our purpose is to help
And it's to impact
women, and we want to have an impact on your life. And in order to do that, we need to reach more people. So you sharing and telling people really helps us do that.
Right on.
So thanks everyone for listening to today's episode. We'll catch you next time on the Flourish Academy podcast.